Welcome back to Hang Up and Hang Out, where the sole purpose of these videos is to help you reclaim your attention and your focus in a world that is designed to keep you distracted. So, today, something that just clicked with me, ironically, in the stillness, when I was focusing on one thing at a time, was how the ability to focus on one task at a time and training my mind for focus has led to, I'd say in the past 6 months, the most amount of connections I've made with other people, the most amount of new friendships, the most amount of extremely aligned friendships that I've created in the past 6 months because of my ability to focus and stay present in conversation. And I used to think for a long time, I felt like I talked to a lot of people and connected with nobody. But I'd say over the past 3 or 4 years, when I was really distracted and had a very fractured attention, had no higher goals, no purpose, I noticed that I didn't really make any new friends. I didn't really have any connections, no girlfriend, no dating. And I always thought that was like because of the way I looked or, just my circumstances. I wasn't making money. I wasn't successful. It was the way I looked, whatever. I always thought it was these external circumstances when now that I've spent a better part of a year really understanding focus and attention and presence and practicing it daily, I've come to realize that I've created so many of these relationships because I'm able to put my awareness on a person and give them my full attention and energy. And when you do that, we've all felt it when you can feel somebody staring at you and they are nowhere but there. That's when those connections happen. And I think we all struggle with that a lot these days. We know when we're talking to someone and they could be looking right at us and excuse me, and their mind is completely elsewhere, physically present, mentally absent. And we deal with a lot of that. And I've realized that over the course of the last 6 months since I've moved to a new city and I've had a strong intention on making new connections, new friends, it's been the easiest thing ever. Because in the boring moments of folding my laundry and not doing anything else, staring at a wall for 20 minutes a day, eating with no TV, nothing, all of those moments were practice of focus. And you don't practice presence. Like presence is not something you practice. You practice focus, and presence is a byproduct of that focus. And I've noticed that because in those boring moments of being able to become the observer and understand where my awareness is in my mind and be able to bring it back. First notice, where is it? And then bring it back and continue working that muscle of focus. When I go out and have a conversation with somebody that I care about and I want to speak to, I'm able to keep it right there because I've practiced it for hours and hours and hours over the past year. I don't even know. It's like anything. If I'm going to practice piano for 6 hours a day for the past year, I'm going to be really good at the piano. It's no different with our focus. And these things start to happen as a byproduct, like these amazing relationships. When I go to have conversations with new people, I don't think about, okay, sit here and really focus on what this person's talking about so I can connect with them. I'm not thinking about it because I've practiced it so much of keeping my awareness on one thing enough to understand it that when I go do it outside with people and opportunities and places, it's like second nature. It's like anything. If you practice it enough, you will become really good at it. And I've just noticed that I'm like, I replayed like the last 6 months of my life. I'm like, wow, I've made random connections way more. I've talked to more strangers. I've connected in ways that I've never connected before with people, and it's felt so natural. And I've made more friends that are just aligned with what I'm pursuing in my purpose in my life. And it's not a coincidence. It's because I've spent so much time over the past year being able to put my awareness on one thing at a time. And through that, I've been able to connect with people at such a deep level because I'm well versed in focus. Focus is like one of my best skills now. And people can feel that. And that's when you open the door for connection. If I'm talking to you and you can tell that I'm not there, the door is not open for them to say things that they would trust for you to know. And that's how you never connect with people on a deep level, and you never make new friends and new connections. And I wish I could have told myself that 3 years ago. But I'm telling you, so if you feel like you're not making connections, it's not a you problem. Like, you're not boring. You're not fun to be around. It could be a lack of focus, because when we show up to these conversations, if we're physically present and mentally not present, the energy is not there and we don't connect with people, and then there's nothing. And you talk to a bunch of people and you connect with nobody, and then you live a lonely life. And I know what that's like, to talk to hundreds of people and connect with nobody. So yeah, this is just a message that again, it's something that I wish somebody told me 3 years ago, when I thought I just wasn't a good conversationalist. It's not that I couldn't talk to people. I just couldn't focus long enough to connect with others. And I think we can all relate to that a little bit, because we're masters of distraction. We are so good at distracting ourselves these days that when we do get into a conversation, it's like second nature to put our awareness in 3 other places, and then the person's talking and we don't even know what they're talking about. And how do you expect to make friends and connect when you can't even focus on the person in front of you? So yeah, that is basically how staring at walls for 20 minutes a day and eating ground beef without Netflix has improved my social life. Again, focus on the inputs and the outputs will take care of themselves. Like, focus is the input, presence is the output. We can't practice presence, you practice focus. And then before you know it, you're present in conversations and you start making really good friends. So if you feel like you struggle with making new connections, making new friends, maybe you just moved to a new city, it's not that you lack personality. It's not that you lack, this or that or whatever you might think it is. You could lack focus in those conversations, and that's where you make a connection. And then before you know it, you're so much better at it. And you start to walk up to strangers, and because you're confident in your ability to focus and make a connection. So it could start in very easy ways, like just eat dinner and just focus on eating dinner. That's something that I do every day now. And it makes a huge difference, because just focusing on one thing at a time in the very boring moments of your everyday mundane life allow you to focus on one thing at a time in the very exciting moments when you can make new connections, meet new people that could end up being your best friends. You don't have to change much in your life. Just start doing one thing at a time. And you might notice that your social life improves, because then when you go hang out with your friends, you'll be able to focus on one person at a time or one conversation at a time. And you have deeper connections, deeper talks, very fruitful relationships, and your entire life will start to expand. So this is something that I wish I heard a long time ago, is how focusing on one thing at a time in your daily life can lead to extremely fruitful relationships and deeper bonds with other humans, which is ultimately what we're made for. And the distracted world that we live in now kind of takes us away from that. So, yeah, that's kind of all I have for you today. It's a Monday. Hope you have a great week and start doing one thing at a time. The next thing I'm going to do right now is eat ground beef and sweet potatoes and just eat the food. I'm not going to watch anything on YouTube. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm not going to scroll on my phone. I'm just going to eat the food. And not because it's necessarily the most fun thing to do, but because I know it's practicing my focus. And then maybe I'll meet somebody really cool when I go for a walk later, and I'll be able to be completely present in that conversation. And that's where the magic happens. So I encourage you to just try it today, and something you already do. Don't add anything new to your routine. Just could be as simple as eating an apple and just sitting there and eating that apple. It compounds. Just like if you were practicing the piano for 6 hours a day, you'd get pretty good at the piano. As always, hang up and hang out. Have a great day.